Welcome everybody, and I think I will go straight into my presentation today, which is a bit about our company and about us and who we are as a group. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to start off here, I'm going to just give you a little bit of a rundown about our group overall. Our group is known as the Sun Group of Companies, and originally, as the chairman inferred earlier, we basically started out as a hotel group of companies. Back in the 70s, my father started out as a manager of a hotel and moved on from being in the hotel business into other businesses over the years. Right now, we basically own 2 hotels and look after 3 hotels for owners. And the hotels are Sugarcane Club, Savannah Hotel, Worthing Court, Time Out, and as the chairman mentioned, the Ammon Beach Village. Other companies we're involved in is transport, and we are involved in Drive-O-Matic car rentals, and we represent 6 rent-a-car also, and we have offices in Barbados and in St. Lucia. We are also Island Safari and Safari Tours, which is a 40-foot long cigarette-type boat that does tours up and down the coast with 40 people in the boat doing fast tours, fast runs up and down the coast. And we have offices in Barbados and in Antigua. And then we're also Johnson Tours, which is a taxi service in Barbados, and we have buses, approximately 20 buses, 40 cars, and about 20 vans. We're also involved in a number of retail operations. We have Texaco, and I haven't changed the logo there, but it should say Rubis there. And we have offices in, 2 locations, one in Barbados and one in St. Lucia. And we're also building a new brand called iMart, which is a convenience store operation that we're building in Barbados right now. We have 3 locations opened already. Refinery is a duty-free shop at the airport that we operate, and we also just recently bought Hallmark in Barbados, 2 stores. We closed one of the stores, and we just opened 2 new locations in different parts of the island. So Hallmark, we're really making a push there, and that's cards, greeting cards, and balloons and everything for special occasions. Pointed the wrong way. We also do destination management services with a company called Sun Tours. We have offices in Antigua, Barbados, and St. Lucia, and we're the representatives locally of Virgin Holidays and other tour operators that come into the different islands. Liberty Travel is one basically out of the US that we represent, but there are a number from all over the world that we represent them. And basically, the staff that you see at the airport wearing Virgin uniforms are basically our staff that go and meet, greet clients, make sure that they get in the right taxi, go to the right hotel. We then go and make sure that they're happy in the hotel, sell them tours, and make sure they get back on the right bus to get back to the airport. And that's what we do at Sun Tours. Going Places Travel, as Vira mentioned, is also one of our companies. Going Places Travel has offices in Antigua, Bahamas, Barbados, Bequia, Carriacou, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Trinidad, and also the USA. And that is one of the companies that report directly to me, as well as in general. And then, of course, of new, which you'll hear more about today, is Sun General Insurance. So that just gives you an idea of who our group is as a whole and what's behind the company basically. So just moving on quickly to Sun Group as a whole, we have offices in Anguilla, Antigua, Barbados, Bahamas, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Trinidad, and the USA. And we employ over 800 staff in 10 countries with 52 different offices. And I always like to put up this slide because it really gives you an idea of how big the group actually is and what our spread is over the Caribbean and now into North America. So just going into Sun General now, I wanted to just basically introduce you to our board of directors. My father is Bernard Weatherhead, he's the chairman. Mr. Davis Brown, seated there at the table, is our president. Robert Carter is our group financial controller, and he's actually for the whole group of companies. The Honorable Peter Foster here in St. Lucia, Mr. John Miller from Grenada, Mr. Ray Royer from Barbados, and of course myself. We are the board of the new Sun General. And what we try to do is have people from different islands of where we have offices onto the board involved, and Ray, I believe, is originally from Anguilla too. So I think the speakers just came on there. So we have people from all over the Caribbean represented on our board. Just quickly, we have our management team also. Again, Davis Brown is our president. Mr. Dean Weatherhead, who is here also, is our vice president of claims. Debbie Ann Haynes is our group financial controller for Sun General. She's also here. Vira, of course, here in St. Lucia. And Michael Gonzalez, who is here with us, but many of the brokers here would know him as well as the agents because he's been here quite a lot, doing a lot of visits with Vira. He is here also. And then we also have our management team in the other islands, Yvonne Williams in St. Vincent, Terry Ann Roberts in Grenada, Lena Alfred in Dominica, and Keel Connor in Anguilla. So everyone on the top line is basically here today. So when we go out to have the cocktail party, I hope all of you all take the opportunity to just come in and say hello to everybody and get to know us a little bit better. So a little bit about Sun General now. Sun General is actually in Anguilla, Antigua, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent. And basically, Sun General employs 70 staff working in 7 countries with a total of 10 offices throughout the Caribbean. We offer all classes of general insurance, which is home, motor, business and commercial insurance, marine, accident, and liability. We are also only deal with all A-rated insurance companies, so the reinsurance backing that we have is all A-rated. Just a quick overview now of what we've been doing over the past year as a company, because we've been quite busy. You may not have seen us. We've been busy with the hotels, but we've also been busy in the background of the hotel, of the insurance company. But we changed the name of Sun General in Barbados in July 2013 and actually completed the change in 2013 in all the islands in October. Part of it was that it was a lot of cleaning up to be done in the background of getting everything back up to date and everything so we could get the name changed, because obviously each country wouldn't let us change the name until we brought everything up to date. So we spent the last year doing a lot of work bringing the company back up to where it should be. We basically overtook a complete rehaul of our accounts department. In fact, our accounting program that we use was 8 versions behind, and we weren't able to just jump from one version to the 8th version. We had to actually go and update each version right through to get to the 8th version. So it was a lot of cleaning up our accounts department to try to get to where we wanted to be. So it took a lot of time. We also upgraded our back office accounting program, which is TRAMS, because we were running on some old versions. We were able to bring that up to date. And also over the past year, we had to complete 4 audits in 12 months because the company, when we took it over, was behind by 4 years' audits. So, I mean, we spent 12 months just doing nothing but Price Waterhouse, living in our offices and doing audits. So it's quite a lot of work we've been doing in the background. Even though you may not have been seeing a lot, we basically have a firm belief that you have to have a good foundation for a good company. And what we've tried to do is spend the last year putting in place the foundation for the company. And now we get to move on to, as I call it, the nice things, which are sales and advertising and everything, but we wanted to make sure that we had in the foundation. So we spent a lot of time on that. In part of our cleaning up, we also had to pay outstanding taxes, regulatory fines, corporate affairs fines that were racking up on the company over the past 4 years also. So everything at this stage is up to date, cleaned, and ready to move forward. In 2013, we were able to actually file all of our audits with regulators before the required time. We had brought the company up to date and we were able to do that. And in 2014, we will also be filing before the required time. So we think we brought the company to that stage now to start moving on from here. So some of the things that we've actually been doing, as I said earlier, we believe in having a strong foundation, is we've actually looked at the company from the very basic bottom part of it and how do we move forward. And one of the things we've done is reworded all of our policies, and we've taken an approach from the ground up to reword it from scratch and move forward. And what we did is actually hired some people out of Lloyd's of London to come in and help us to reword everything and bring it into a modern format, which basically is easy to read and easy to understand. And in fact, we've actually started to get comments already from customers who have noted it and actually said this is the easiest policy we've ever had from an insurance company, and we can actually read it and understand it. So we've done a lot of work with that, and obviously it's taken time again, because you just don't go and reword something like this, but you also have to have, you know, the different regulators in each island approve the wording and come back to you with changes and everything to make sure that you have what is covered by the law of each island and everything. So it's been a big task. We've had a team basically of 4 people working on that completely for the last year also. So again, while you've not been seeing us, we've been doing a lot in the background to make sure that solid foundation is there for the company. I just put up on the slide on the board here some samples of our advertising. You will notice, those of you who are heavy internet users, we've actually had a very big campaign online with Google Ads, linking directly to our website, as well as ads in the newspaper. And even driving here today in the car, because I came in from the US and driving down from Huronora, I heard quite a few of our ads playing as I was going through, which surprised me. Very good. So, but we've been using the internet as a big tool to get business and to do ads also for customers to see them. And the whole reason we've been doing that is because we've actually launched a website that allows customers to go online and actually get a live quote. And we launched this about a year ago. We're about to, this week, launch a second version of it, which will look a little bit different than this one, with orange colors on it and a little bit of changes from what we have today. But we are proud to say that we're the first company in the Caribbean to actually have a quoting engine that gives an accurate insurance quote that we stand behind 100%. No other insurance company at this stage has one that, you know, gives an accurate quote 100%. A lot of them give you numbers and say we'll contact you again and come back to you in 24 hours. But we've actually invested a lot of time into building a quoting engine that gives an accurate quote. And it's for our customers, but what we found also is that we have a lot of agents that are actually using it right now to give customers quotes with people sitting right in front of them without having to call to the offices and everything. So it's really, I think, a jump forward that we are working on in a very big way. This is a video showing you how the quote works. And it won't get to the end, but what is fantastic about it is at the very end, when you come to the price, it gives you prices on all 3 types of insurance you can have from one form of filling out all your information. But I'll move on from there because it's quite a long video as we go on. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, that brings to a close a little bit about our company, a little bit about Sun General, and I would just say to everyone, here comes the sun. It's become a very big used phrase in the offices. We're here, we're happy to be in St. Lucia. I think our team here has been here for a long time, has long relationships, and it's a pleasure to be here. I come into St. Lucia quite a lot, so you'll be seeing a lot more of me in the future. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to hand you over to our chairman, Mr. Bernard Weatherhead. I know he's already started talking, and I am sure he will carry on from there. For those of you who weren't here, he gave us a little intro before, but I hand you over to our chairman, who is also my father, Bernie Weatherhead.
I just wanted to make a comment on something that Alfredo kept referring to, and that was the amount of time that we invested in bringing this company up to date. He registered that very carefully over and over in the program, and I know he has it registered because he put in a lot of hours in it. But I kept registering the investment of money into doing it. So it was a twofold scenario. As Alfredo actually mentioned, and some of you would not have appreciated it, because we invited guests from 5 o'clock, but that we would start at 5:30. But nobody invited a comedian or anybody to keep people who arrived early. Some of our guests actually arrived before us at 10 to 5. So I undertook that task, and I didn't get any loud applause after spending 10 minutes trying to be some sort of comedian. So anyway, so that was what his reference to me speaking earlier is all about. It was a very informal chat. But I just wanted, I think Alfredo has said most of what should be said here this afternoon, other than what the president of the company, Davis Brown, will say, because he knows insurance. I don't. I am just an investor. But what I wanted to just say is that St. Lucia, in fact, was the very first island, very first country that we invested in outside of Barbados. Barbados is where we started to develop all of our companies, and when I looked to go outside of Barbados, it was into St. Lucia, and we actually bought St. Lucia International Travel Services, better known as SLITS. That caused me a lot of problems with my wife at one time because it was bits, gits, sits, slits, and I was going into Trinidad with tits. So I had to change the name of the company to Going Places Travel, and after that she didn't care what island I went into. It was fine with her. So we came into St. Lucia with St. Lucia International Travel, a company prior to that owned by Major Batson and his wife, and that company was formed here in the early 70s, and the next thing we did was to introduce Drivomatic, which was a highly successful rent-a-car company in Barbados with nearly 400 cars on the road in Barbados today. Drivomatic was introduced here in 1994, and as I came in today on the flight, one of my most faithful employees in business said to me, "I was here for you 20 years ago." He was here from day one. And but in most of our companies, we have very faithful staff and staff that go back in the Barbados company certainly to 40 years ago. Not going to speak on that because that will tell you my age in a hurry. But we took over. We started Drivomatic here in 1994. And we then followed it with Suntours, which, as Alfredo said, is a destination management company. And then we took on the Rubis station at Redwee. And here we are this evening talking about Sun General, that really we bought that old insurance company. I don't like to call the name. In February 2012. So what I thought I would say this evening is that I have enjoyed here in St. Lucia. I've traveled to St. Lucia many, many times to enjoy some holidays and disappeared when the staff found out that I was here trying to find me. I was on holiday. But St. Lucia has been a very special place to me and to my family. So it was no wonder that we came here before we went into any other island. And today we now stretch right up from Trinidad to the US. We have 12 or 14 offices in the Bahamas alone. So I still have St. Lucia as a very special place, and we what I wanted to maybe end on the note was that the profit that we made in St. Lucia over all of these years has been reinvested in St. Lucia. Neither myself nor my companies have taken any dividends out of St. Lucia in any way whatsoever. We have built our own building here, and I'm proud of that, because with profitability here, we look to reinvest, and that is what we've done with Sun General. And to anyone who knows anything about the insurance company, like most businesses, when you're losing money, you put in money. The insurance business is completely different. When you're growing, you put in more money, because the regulators make sure that they have their piece of pie. So it's one of those things. So whichever business you get into, be prepared to put in money. I thank you ever so much for being here this evening, and I asked all the speakers, including myself, because my wife warns me all the time, do not go down there and bore the people with a long speech that you're accustomed to doing. So I welcome you all. We look forward to chatting with you informally over a couple drinks when we are through here. And I would like to, at this stage, ask Davis Brown, the president, to come and say a few words about the actual insurance business, and try to maybe solicit some insurance whilst we're here. Thank you.
Let me just briefly speak about Sun General Insurance, Inc. You would have heard earlier about the acquisition of a portfolio previously owned by another entity. And 2012, 100% of the shares of that company was purchased by the Sun Group. And therefore, I wish to state categorically this evening that the previous owner has absolutely no shareholding or other interests in Sun General Insurance, Inc. The company, having been bought, was quickly rebranded, and of course it is called Sun General Insurance. It's Barbados-based, and you would have seen earlier where our offices currently are. In my case, I've been associated with the Weatherheads for many years. In fact, for over 20 years, we conducted the insurance business. And then for over 12 years, they had an insurance agency, still has an insurance agency to the present with the company in Sunset Crest and St. James. So we've had a long business relationship with the Weatherheads, and I'm absolutely pleased this evening to be part of the Sun Group and to be given the opportunity to lead Sun General Insurance. Let me just say a few things quickly about our name, Sun General Insurance. Of course, the name of itself speaks of the parent company, and that we are a member of the Sun Group of companies, one of the greatest indigenous groups within the Southern English-speaking Caribbean. But secondly, our name speaks to our indomitable pioneering spirit, and Alfredo Weatherhead would have already mentioned that in the short 2 years that we've been in existence, we've been able to pioneer the first online accurate general insurance quoting engine in the region, and developing it further. We'll hear a bit more about that as we progress. We can all agree in the very natural sense that the sun is shining and Sun General will shine across the region. We will be, of course, harnessing the strength and security of our international reinsurance partners. There is Lloyd's of London, Munich Re, Swiss Re, Everest Re, as Alfredo mentioned earlier, all A-rated companies, and we also deal with A-rated reinsurance brokers as well. Thirdly, I would wish to record our total commitment to, in the name, to the core business of general insurance and related services. So you wouldn't expect us to be operating a gold mine in some other part of the world. let me turn briefly to the company's logo, and you would realize that our logo was inspired by that of the parent company, Sun Group Inc., in that it shows our genesis, it shows our strong roots, and it depicts our individuality and warm personality. That is a strong focus on customer convenience and fulfillment. The three important elements perhaps that I can speak about that is portrayed in the logo: the sun, which depicts our visionary and pioneering spirit, of course, of the parent company, and the radiance of Sun General as we spread across the region, and also as we develop and put into place our own brand of insurance, our products and services. The second element there, the rings, which depict our warm, customer-centric approach to business dealings. And then, of course, you have the combination of the rings and the sun, and the term sun, depicting our connectedness to our group and the wider community of customers, partners, and associates. Briefly, on the color scheme, the color blue, which is a color that is fairly widely known across the Caribbean in terms even of our waters and skies at perfect times, is used to reflect our regional base and, of course, to depict dependability and strength. The color orange is used to depict our vigor in our growth and developmental objectives, and the color gold or yellow indicates our focus on value and on quality. Now, we in Sun General have a very highly skilled and experienced technical team, not only at head office in Barbados, but across the region. Combined, we have, across the entire company, we have in excess of 150 years of practical general insurance experience. So though the name Sun General is relatively new and young, I wish to underscore the point this evening that we have a very strong team of qualified, experienced staff with a wealth of knowledge and experience in managing insurance risks. Alfred has already summarized the classes of business that we write in, but let me say this is not yet here in the St. Lucia market, that we have pioneered a new product in Barbados, recently launched in Barbados, deductible buyback, which is to ease the strain that is placed on individual property owners at the time of a catastrophe loss, so that rather than paying perhaps the customary 2% deductible that you have on property, you could do the calculations with $1 million property, what 2% is. We're able to drop it down to a very, very small fraction of 1%. Notice I said a very small fraction of 1%. Of course, there's a fee that is attached to it. We've been able to develop it with the help of some of our international reinsurance brokers and Lloyd's of London, and have been able to gain the approval of the Financial Services Commission in Barbados to sell that particular product. It is the vision of Sun General to become a truly global company, and that is, of course, represented in our name, the Sun. And as we write all classes of business across the region in those markets in which we are licensed, I would wish for us, however, to note this evening that as far as St. Lucia is concerned, our clients here will know of and benefit from our regional and international market knowledge, our diverse product knowledge and offerings, our solid reinsurance security, which underpins our stability and our growth. We are conservative in our approach to risk-taking and management, our tested and proven claims payment services, and we would have been one of those companies that had claims arising out of the recent floods here in St. Lucia, and we have maintained our claims philosophy. I would only deal with the first part of the claims philosophy. When claims are good, you pay, and you pay fast. And we've been able to, across the region, particularly St. Lucia and St. Vincent, where we suffered losses in the recent floods in December, to meet our obligations. You would also take note that our personalized service and wide reach into the market will come through our sales force and through our online, or should I add our expanding online facilities, because there's going to be a business component attached to our online facility as well. And that we will be using the years of experience that we have and technical know-how and the capabilities that we have with our online system to tailor general insurance packages and risk management services, of course, with international assistance. And finally, to keep the chairman's word, let me close by saying that I am particularly pleased to be associated with this new company. You would have heard about the Sun Group and the direction it has taken over the years. And I can say in his presence and behind his back, without a shadow of a doubt, that we have in our chairman one of the best, if not the best, business person that I've certainly met in the region. I will not speak about the airline business, but certainly he has made a tremendous success of the businesses that he has undertaken. And that same pioneering, that same spirit is with us as we progress with Sun General. I therefore look forward to many years of success and growth with Sun General, and I am pleased to commend it to you. Thank you.
Let me first apologize for the very, very deep disappointment I know you must have by seeing me here. I'm usually here to deliver the bad news. I don't know who is more disappointed, whether it is the receiver of the news or me, especially when I'm told, well, perhaps I have to fit in to deliver a speech. But this, no doubt, is an indication, however, of Prime Minister's deep interest and desire to be here today, that he had committed, notwithstanding a possibility of a very heavy agenda today. But at the last minute, unfortunately, he could not make it. He's asked me to express his sincere regret to Mr. Weatherhead, a dear friend of his, as well as to all of you. And so I would like to do some justice to delivering his remarks. I must say, in his view, today is a very salient day in building the confidence of the people of St. Lucia. And continuing with all of the pun that was expressed earlier, at this dusk hour, we witnessed the rising of a new insurance company, Sun General Insurance, in the insurance sector. And the confidence I speak of is no doubt spawned by your renewing presence, we call it, in this industry, not only in St. Lucia, but the Eastern Caribbean for that matter. Like you, we are very much aware of the fierce competition in this industry. But as the marketing gurus would say, fierce competition is only a symptom of a market with a high demand. And so your bravery to enter this field, no doubt, was very, very well calculated, Mr. Weatherhead. For a moment, I'd like you to consider this, and I'm perhaps speaking to a group of people who know this all too well, that an insurance policy is a promise. It's a sacred contract. When an insurer takes up such an undertaking, in a very fair sense, you are entrusted with everything that is valuable to an individual, private or corporate. This sacred bond of being there till the end, and often in the worst of times. That bond that says there is hope. There is something to fall back on, to rebuild, to get well, to enter, to revive despite the losses. Therefore, people must come to any insurer with great confidence, confidence that they are beyond reliable, that this company will withstand the test of time. The Eastern Caribbean region was not spared of the shock that occurred within the regional financial sector as a result of the economic crisis of 2008. Our people were shaken. They felt great loss, and they continue to feel great loss. This loss was extremely potent. It goes beyond the loss of money, although in many cases it is life savings for many. But moreover, this loss is accompanied by a shattering of our people's confidence, a break of trust. However, today, we see a hope of this confidence returning. Your company, Mr. Weatherhead, has purchased, as has been said before, fully the name that we avoided, perhaps maybe I'm allowed to say it, CLICO Holdings Barbados. That was CLICO International General Insurance Limited. Indeed, the headline at the time in 2012 may have been described as your company was taking over the ashes of CLICO. Today, there are no more ashes, thanks to your bravery. The CLICO International General Insurance of the past is no more, as has been said, articulated earlier. And the Sun General Insurance is now expected to stroke the warmth and fuse the ties in the hearts and hopes of our Caribbean people. I would like you to know that our government is very confident that you, Mr. Weatherhead, an astute businessman in a variety of fields, as your son explained, together with your able team that you've put together, will do this successfully. You see, when you observe the unease that continue to ripple through the markets because of disturbances that have been characterized by the industry over the past few years, you cannot blame our people for still harboring that fear. Everything that is valuable to them, life, health, their home, vehicle, property, I mean, it's listed here, professional careers, so I don't think that you are into that aspect. Everything that is valuable to them is entrusted to you, the insurer, to protect against the unknown. They entrust you with their future protection by paying today. It therefore means that insurance company must be in it for the long haul, as I said earlier. They must be about sound management and no frills. We recognize that insurance is largely about risk management. And sadly, in our region, St. Lucia, like the other Eastern Caribbean islands, we're characterized by being one of the most riskiest places on the face of this earth. And that is one of the most vulnerable regions in the world as it relates to natural disasters. This, no doubt, makes our risk all the more costly to manage. And we've seen it over the past 5 years with the increased occurrence of floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, everything, you name it. This is currently one of the greatest challenges facing our leaders of the region today. And it's on the agenda of the heads of CARICOM almost at each meeting. How do you make a country so vulnerable, so much at risk to disaster? How do you make a country that is so vulnerable into a safer, more peaceful, and resilient place for all? And so it is with this in mind, there are clearly areas of possible engagement between governments and insurance companies throughout the region. And for the corporate world, this no doubt will translate to be seen as synergy in executing your social responsibility. For instance, we both want safer roads. We both need safer environments. We want persons living healthier lives, longer lives. We desire more resilient infrastructure that protects and preserves life and property. Undoubtedly, that requires concerted public policy to achieve these measures to improve health, safety, and quality of life for all. However, these also present very clear opportunities for engagement and partnership, through which any insurer can play their role in assisting the same. Government and civil society understand that insurers all over the world do not always enjoy a positive appreciation from the wider public. In fact, insurance salesmen's jokes are something almost of a staple in every society. There's always a perception that an insurer is purely about profit. However, while it is indeed in your interest to prove that insurance has to be part of that answer in managing personal and corporate risk, and it is indeed your job to educate our people to both public and private forms of insurance coverage is a sound investment. I do believe that we can help. Government plays a very important role. We can work together to abate these perceptions, these negative perceptions. It is not just through the partnerships that I spoke of earlier, but however, by also assisting us and cooperating with us in effecting adequate regulation. I'm sure this is something our Director of Regulatory Financial Services would, well, he's smiling at this now. Because I want to suggest that only you, the insurer, stand to benefit in the most well-regulated environment. You benefit when we have a safe and sound regulatory environment that the consumers can sleep well in. Having said all of this, though, I recognize that a key challenge for you will always be about good management of your client. It is about managing and balancing that embrace of warmth and attention, both at the point of selling the policy and as well at the point of dealing with a claim, a very ticklish point. We all appreciate that the latter is even more crucial to be managed. For the insured, it's generally charged with emotion. It is when the family and his or her, it is when the insurer and his or her family is down and out and looking to the insurer for that lifeline. This period needs to be handled with a particular care and humanity, a particular understanding of the culture of our people that would no doubt cause you to rise above the competition. And as I mentioned earlier, to do this, your job in educating our people about the risk and the need for insurance could never be over. You could never be too precise in describing how your system works, erasing that doubt from the onset instead of waiting at the end where you're faced with frustration from the clients. So it's better to do this up front than in the long run. Mr. Weatherhead, the Prime Minister is pleased to note that Sun General has already been responding to the losses that we recently experienced as a result of the Christmas Eve trough. As with all products, brand differentiation and reliability matters, as Mr. Brown mentioned and Alfredo mentioned earlier. People must have a confidence that you are on their side. That you are quick and responsive when handling your claims. From the government's perspective, I do believe that we have shown ourselves to be reasonably fair and meticulous in the regulatory environment. And this, as I mentioned earlier, is in good stead. So we'd like to continue working with you along this path. Also, Prime Minister is pleased to note the strength of your company's board of directors and its operations thus far. He's pleased to note that you are backed solidly and that you also have reduced your risk through reputable reinsurance. He gets his reassurance from the fact that the parent group, Sun Group Incorporated, holds a wealth of experience in sound business acumen and a strong portfolio of investments, particularly in tourism and related services. And if you permit me, St. Lucia, and we have our Minister of Investment right here, I'm sure she'll agree, that St. Lucia is an ideal location for investment in the hospitality sector. And I'm sure you will find very good reason to even further diversify your products, your range of operations into St. Lucia. Indeed, every good insurer needs to be backed by sound investment, and we can provide that environment for you. But, you know, with your long-standing connection with St. Lucia, as you expressed earlier, I'm sure you don't need me to suggest even more to have you consider in this direction. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bernard Weatherhead, members of your board, staff of Sun General Insurance, this evening I am importantly here to convey Prime Minister's warm embrace to you and your team into St. Lucia. May you keep the faith and the confidence of the St. Lucian public, and in particular, your policy holders, both the traditional ones and the new ones. May you hold true to that sacred opportunity to always be there and be there at the right time.